Hi everyone, it's me Lubna. Today is Thursday, November 7th, 2024. This video is dedicated to my beloved, and the topic of this video is going to be about building up a bulletproof mentality. And this topic came to my mind as I was reading the book that I'm currently reading, which is Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender by David Hawkins, MD, PhD. And I wanted to share a specific passage from this book with you today. And the passage I wanted to share comes from the end of chapter 3. So I'll show it to you first in case you'd like to read it for yourself. And I've enclosed the passage within brackets. And I'll read that aloud to you now. Here it goes. Out of the recognition of who we really are, comes the desire to seek that which is uplifting. Out of it arises a new meaning and context for life. When that inner emptiness, due to lack of self-worth, is replaced by true self-love, self-respect, and esteem, we no longer have to seek it in the world, for that source of happiness is within ourselves. It dawns on us that it cannot be supplied by the world anyway. No amount of riches can compensate for an inner feeling of poverty. We all know of the many multimillionaires who try to compensate for their inner sense of hollowness and lack of inner worth. Once we have contacted this inner self, this inner greatness, this inner completion, contentment, and true sense of happiness, we have transcended the world. The world is now a place to enjoy, and we are no longer run by it. We are no longer at the effect of it. When we utilize these techniques of relinquishing the negative and surrendering resistance to the positive, sooner or later we come into a sudden, comprehensive awareness of our true dimension. Once this has been experienced, it will never be forgotten. The world will never intimidate us again as it once did. There may be continued compliance with the ways of the world out of sheer habit, but the inner drivenness, the inner vulnerability, and the inner doubt is now gone. Outwardly, the behavior may appear the same, but inwardly, the causes for it are now totally different. The end result of the conscious handling of emotions is invulnerability and imperturbability. Our inner nature is now bulletproof. We are able to go through life with balance and grace. So that is the passage that I wanted to share with you today from Letting Go. And so far, as I've been reading Letting Go, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is about how we are not our emotions and the thoughts that result from our emotions. We are totally separate from these things. Although we experience these things, they are not who we are, and they are always changing and transitory. And we have the choice of how to react to any given situation. It's in our control. The events around us are not what cause us to feel a certain way. We are because we allow those events to make us feel a certain way. We always have the choice on what type of attitude to adopt in any given situation. And this is a lesson that I wish I had learned earlier on in life, specifically a year ago when I was starting my rotations during my 3rd year of medical school. I remember that during my very first rotation, which was in internal medicine at a major hospital in Phoenix, I was not familiar with the ropes or how things were done. I was very clueless on how to interview patients and what questions to ask and how to sound confident and not unsure of what I was saying or doing. And I remember that there was one patient at the hospital who, when I went in to ask the questions regarding his symptoms and how he was doing, was looking at me like I was dumb, like I didn't know anything. And I remember that day I really wanted to just cry in that moment, in that room with that patient. I just wanted to break down into tears and cry, because I took it personally when he told me that I sounded like I had just come off the streets and was interviewing him. And in that moment, I just let the words of that patient affect me so deeply. And over time, throughout my 3rd year of medical school, as I did more rotations in all of the different specialties, I grew more and more immune to the things that patients say sometimes, because a lot of the times they are in a lot of pain and they might take out their anger or depression on us, healthcare providers. But I have always been a very sensitive person and have always felt or taken personally the things that people say to me. But after reading a little bit of this book, I've learned more about how to distance myself from the things that people say to me and how to make myself bulletproof. In those moments where I'm tempted to cry or even get angry because of something that somebody has said to me, or something that happens not directly as the result of somebody else's action, but perhaps just something situational in my environment, I have to stop and ask myself, how do I want this to affect me? And is this really about me, or is this about that person, or is this just circumstantial and nobody's fault at all, or questions like that. And when I stop and ask myself those questions, I allow myself to experience that emotion momentarily. Like if I feel sad because of something somebody told me, I for a moment allow myself to feel that way, and then I let it pass without acting on it, without saying anything back, and without beating myself up or thinking it's my fault. And in that way, I distance myself from my emotions and my thoughts. And I remind myself that I'm just an observer of these thoughts and emotions. I'm not the thoughts and emotions themselves. It's a very good skill to develop, to not get too excited or react too much to anything anybody says to you, whether good or bad. That's what Stoicism is about in philosophy. When you can do that, you develop this calmness and this power to not be affected by the situations that you are exposed to or that you're a part of. Not being too affected and allowing them to hurt you or to harm you in any other way. And so, by sharing all of that with you, I wanted to encourage you to also adopt such a bulletproof mentality by remembering that who you are is not the same thing as the emotions and the thoughts that you have. Who you are is something much deeper than that, and at your core, you are a totally innocent person. You're not the things that have happened to you. You're not the people that have hurt you. And you're not what people say about you or say to you. You are the child that you were, the baby that you were when you were born into this world, pure and innocent. And nothing that people blame you for is really your fault, because our lives all affect each other's lives, and we often experience traumas because of a result of something that had happened to us a long time ago, perhaps in childhood or perhaps even in adulthood, that were not really under our control. And so you can't blame yourself for everything that has happened to you or everything that you are. At your core, you are completely innocent and you are bulletproof. Remember that. I hope that you've learned something very valuable from my video today, as always, and thank you so much for watching and listening. And I want to wish you a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, or whatever it is, wherever you are in the world.